Hello everybody, today we're going to learn how to make trees sway in the wind based upon your ultradynamic weather. That is the weather system that comes with Ultradynamic Sky, which is a fantastic weather and sky system on the Unreal Marketplace. As you can see, my trees are swaying in the wind. I learned how to do this from another tutorial. I will link this in the description. This is a fantastic tutorial. Like I said, I'll put the link to that in the description. You'll have to set up your initial wind to work, basically to create the material that creates the tree sway depending on wind strength. What I'm going to show you in this video is actually how to link this in with your ultradynamic weather. So for example, right now we have a wind intensity of, let's put it down to 1. Alright, so here's wind intensity 1, right? It's a little bit of wind, not too much. And then let's change that. Let's go up to weather intensity 1. I think I punched that in wrong. Let's try that again. Wind intensity 1. There we go. So very little sway. This also works with your grass, by the way. You can set this up with your grass, and I'll show you how to do that too in a minute. So there's weather intensity or wind intensity 1, and let's go all the way up to something like wind intensity 5. So just so you can see. Alright, so that's like a medium wind, and a storm wind would be something like wind intensity 8. So let's see how that is. Okay, so the direction and strength of this is coming right from the Ultradynamic Weather plugin. And like I said, you first are going to need to set up the material to make the wind blow, and that you can do it from this fine gentleman's video. But what I've actually ended up doing is I've created a material instance, or a material function rather, that corresponds to my leaves, my trees, my grass, and then you can just kind of start plugging that into all of your different your different meshes that should be animated with wind strength. But the main point of this tutorial is to show you what to do in ultradynamic weather so that the actual direction of the wind corresponds to the direction of your tree sway and strength, of course. So let's head on over to Ultradynamic Sky, and that is somewhere. Sky, I think it's in the plugins maybe. I don't remember exactly where it is, so I'm just going to search for it. Ultradynamic weather. That's what you're going to want to do, is open up the Ultradynamic Weather blueprint, and it's pretty easy actually. Just a couple of things. So we need to open up the event graph, and in the event graph, no, not the event graph, the tick graph rather. I suppose it could be the event graph. I've got mine in the tick graph, but I've just actually got mine on begin play, because this is not actually something you need to update every tick. I'm just got it to update every 1 second at the moment, so I've created a sort of a loop, as it were. So when you have created your material following the tutorial video that I will link in the description, you will have something which looks like something. Where are we? Speed tree, hero, tree material function. All right, here we go. You'll have something that looks like this. A couple of important things in this. The wind intensity and the wind direction. You can disregard that. That's not even used. And like I say, these are things you will set up when you watch the other video. But these are two important things to note, because these are, what are they? Scalar parameters, I believe, which we will use. We will set these parameters in the Ultradynamic Weather blueprint. So like I say, once you've created these these will make a little more sense, but you have to watch the other video to do that. But what you're going to do is really quite simple. So here back in ultradynamic weather, you can do something like event begin play, start a delay, forget the print stuff, that doesn't really matter. And then what I've got right here is the current wind intensity is actually a variable set by ultradynamic weather. So I'm actually just setting a new wind intensity, which is a variable I created. Just a couple of debugging prints here. But then here's the main bit. Set the scalar parameter value. Now this updates your material wind intensity, wind direction, which we were just looking at right here, kind of every 1 second. The wind intensity and the wind direction will be updated so that your material knows which way the wind is blowing and how strong it is blowing from ultradynamic weather. You don't need to necessarily do the wind horn bit. That is something else I have plugged into something else. So basically at the end, after this scalar parameter, you could just loop it back to the beginning of your delay, so that basically this much loops plus that there. This much loops over and over again. So yeah, like I say, event begin play, delay, set the new wind intensity, and then what we need are a couple of things to get the direction that the wind is blowing, because it needs to be converted into a format that the material editor will interpret from basically the float angle, basically. So that's in other words, it's just this rotator from axis and angle on the current wind direction. Like I say, that will be a variable you already have in your ultradynamic weather. So you just grab that, get your forward vector, make a linear color, and then we plug that into the parameter value of the wind direction. And then I just actually have this part to print the string for debugging. So you really just need to plug it into here. And what we're doing here is set vector parameter, and the collection I'm calling is windiness. The collection I'm calling is windiness, and the parameter name is wind direction and wind intensity. So the material function, let's see, where did I even set windiness? The collection is windiness. So yeah, first I set a material parameter collection, and then in that material parameter, I can't even remember how I set up the material parameter, to be honest. Oh yeah, okay, it's just a little graph, that's right. And so you basically just need to set the wind intensity, which is a float, I believe, and then, or a scalar, I guess, whatever it's called. Scalar, and then there's the vector for the direction, which is, of course, the RGB. Yeah, so that's anyway how your material collection, or sorry, not your material collection, your parameter collection looks. And then once you have your parameter collection, like I say, you would plug that in. I'm pretty sure actually you'll learn how to do this in the other video. I think that's where I learned how to do it. But the point is that back in ultradynamic weather, we now have basically a timer updating the wind direction, the parameters in your material functions every 1 second, with the current wind intensity from ultradynamic weather and the current wind direction. And yeah, like I say, this part here gets the direction. And then the one other thing you need to do is somewhere in here, I believe there is one other, or is there one other thing, or was that something else? I can't remember. I think there was one other thing. Yeah, no, I can't pause the video. You're just gonna have to watch. So maybe it was in the event graph, or maybe that was it. No. Yeah, no, that's not needed. That's not needed. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm thinking about my other wind system. Yeah, okay, so that's actually all you need. I'll just hover. I'll just head on back to the event tick here, and I'll let you see the whole thing kind of all together. Hopefully that's zoomed in enough. I'll zoom in past the event begin play, so you can just kind of see all that part. And like I say, you don't need the wind horn, you don't need this part, so just ignore this part. Everything else you would need, minus the print string stuff. And so basically, yeah, that's it. That's how you set up your ultradynamic wind and weather. to affect your tree sway and rotational stuff. That combined with the other video, like I say, that I'll link. No, that's not it. The other video that I'll link in the description. Okay. All right.